Hi, welcome to another session of Smart Tech Pin. Thank you so much for your feedback for the last sessions. I was really happy that I received a lot of feedbacks from you guys. So that is really encouraging me to provide more information. See, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible so that I'm just trying to talk in your language, trying to bring some technology names which might be new for you, but good to understand. In fact, I have received a few queries from India, from the agricultural community. So they wanted to go for some automations. I'm really happy to assist them. So if you have any queries, if you have any requirements, please get back to me. Definitely, we can do an analysis of the land, and then we can plan out a few inexpensive uh, automation process so that it is affordable for you. It is meeting your business need, and of course, it's nice to have smartest in your agricultural field. So in today's session, we will discuss transportation and the moving asset tracking, how the IoT can be used for the vehicle tracking and for the moving assets. When I say moving assets, the assets inside the, the container, how it can be tracked. So, in fact, in response to your queries, especially on the last session, the agricultural field level automations. So, I am planning for a live session with one of the agriculture IoTs solution provider who has implemented a few solutions for one of the uh, university here in the US. Here, since they have installed a few sensors and devices for monitoring the water content in the soil and a few other use cases. So I'm trying to arrange a live web session with that company. And if you are interested, please subscribe to the SmartTech Pin, and please send me a mail to smarttechpin@gmail.com. So we'll have a live session. In fact, that company will be sharing their experience in implementing these solutions in the agricultural field. It will be a really good. It will be a really good session for agricultural community as well as for people who are interested in knowing the automations. So unfortunately, during this pandemic time, uh, we cannot go to the field and show you the installations. But once the situations are back to normal, I am planning for a drive to the agricultural field to show you some live implementations. So whatever we discuss here about the gateways, about the sensors, about the devices, we can see live on the agricultural field. So you can wait for that video shortly. So first, let's get through this pandemic. Now in today's session, we'll discuss the transportation and the moving asset tracking. What is the need? As you know, the trucks role in transportation is extremely critical. Whatever the market conditions are. See, now we are running through a very bad, going through a very bad pandemic. Even now, the role of a truck is really critical for transporting the essential goods. So that is one of the primary reason why, if you look at the transportation industry right now, a lot of technology. The companies are trying to bring more technology for the overall fleet management. It includes tracking the vehicles, then tracking the goods that it is carrying, especially in the containers. So they need more technology. So there is always a need for bringing more technology to make their operations seamless, and which includes, as I said, efficient monitoring of goods inside the container. So these are some of the critical needs of the transportation segment. So more and more technology is really needed for their smooth operations. So the main business objectives, if you see, it's not only about tracking the vehicles from point A to point B. That is basically related to their operational efficiency. Along with their operational efficiency, we also have to monitor the vehicle engine efficiency, but that's an added cost for the fleet owners, which includes monitoring the vehicle engine parameters, which again relates to overall vehicle maintenance. And there's also new concepts called, not a new concept, it's a compliance, especially here in the US, Europe, and I'm sure in the rest of the world, there might be some compliances related to the hours of service operations, especially related to the drivers. There's this concept called ELD. It's called electronic logging device. So ELD monitors the vehicle's service history, the engine in motion, how much it runs in a day, especially the operational duration, miles clocked, how many hours the driver has been using the vehicle, driving the vehicle. So a lot of things are being monitored by a device called ELD. So ELD is a new concept. So for any of you who are getting into the transportation and telematics verticals, ELD is definitely a term which you should know. So I'm just giving just an introduction here. Let's start with the vehicle tracking. As you know, the trucks are owned by a company. It could be a trucking company, and there'll be a fleet manager. The manager's role is extremely critical in smooth operations of the entire fleet. So the technology will be used by the fleet managers. So he might have a lot of expectations. He need a device. He wants to track the vehicle while they are moving from point A to point B. So you need some kind of tracking devices. So the fleet manager might be interested in knowing more about the fleet, like when the vehicle is moving from point to point, what is the idle states, running state, stop time, so that he can meet the service level agreements for customers more efficiently. The other one is again the vehicle engine parameters for better maintenance. Say for example the oil parameters, fuel, tire pressure, temperature, etc. So if you monitor all these parameters, it really reduces the operations and maintenance cost a lot. So this is one of the items that the fleet managers might be very much interested to look into. The other one is the ELD. ELD is a compliance from the transportation division. I'm talking about the government ministry. You can call it the ministry. So ELD is one of the compliances. You have to track and keep the hours of service compliance efficiently. So you have to know from point A to point B, a driver drives how many hours he can drive at a stretch. Could be 8 hours, 10 hours, depending upon the country specific compliances. So you have an ELD device for that. So this really removes the manual operation of using a book and then writing all the things in a logbook and note it down the start time and time and all those things. So instead of that, you can have an ELD device. ELD is basically an electronic device, logging device. The other one is basically the the trucks, as you know, they move from point A to point B. They follow a certain route. So you can define the route when the vehicle starts at point A to point B. You can create a route and you can keep a geofence. Geofencing is nothing but you're defining a rule saying that okay, this is a route you have to take, and the trucks cannot take any other route unless there is some kind of unavoidable situations, or maybe some kind of accidents on the freeways, or which blocks the road, and there'll be a bypass route to reach to the destination B. Other than that, you know, otherwise the truck has to move from point A to point B in a specified route. Even if there is a bypass, the geofencing can be defined in such a way that it takes care of the bypass routes. Okay, in case, so you can define the geofences so there is no misuse by the trucks. So this is for better and efficient fleet management. So these are some of the expectations, and I'm just generalizing it. If any of you are in the fleet management role, these are some of your expectations. I'm sure most of the critical aspects are covered here. Now let's see how to fix these things. Vehicle maintenance. How can we integrate? So when I say I want to track the fuel, oil usage, or I want to track the tire pressure of a truck which is in motion, how do I do that? There is a concept called OBD. OBD is called on-board diagnostics. So this is one more, I'm introducing one more term for you. OBD. OBD is basically a port associated to your vehicle. Most of the vehicles, which are even 10 or 15 years old, will have an OBD port. Now it is OBD2 available in the cars as well as in the trucks. Even the car which you use will have an OBD port. So OBD is basically like an interface for you to interface with your engine parameters, and from the OBD you can basically get the data. Say for example, there's oil. Engine is running with less oil, or it could be the tire pressure is below the benchmark, or it could be the low battery indicators. So these informations are all there in the vehicle. So through the OBD, you can tap the data out, so that you can take that data out, and then OBD can communicate to we can keep a small gateway inside the car, or it can be your phone as well. You can your phone itself. We can keep an app there, and then the phone can connect to the OBD and retrieve the data and send the data back to the backend system. So that is one option. The other one is, it's always better to, in a truck, it's always better to keep a fixed device. So you can keep a small gateway there, an inexpensive gateway inside the truck. So that device will receive all the data from the OBD, and it passes the data, or it pushes the data to the backend system. And once it reaches the backend system, we can use a proper data visualization tool and then populate the data as per your business need. So in this way, you can know the health of your vehicle, truck or a car or whatever it is. So you can track all the parameters and make sure that it is properly maintained. If there's a low battery charge level, you can always do some rectifications. You can check the battery, the water or whatever it is, or the battery cells or whatever it is. So you can do a lot of preventive maintenance. So this saves a lot of money for the fleet owners. So OBD is one of the integration through which you can retrieve all the data from the truck or the car. So this is about the vehicle maintenance. The second one. Okay, now I started actually with the vehicle maintenance. So the primary one, another primary requirement is basically track the vehicle. Okay, so you can basically you can attach a tracking module, a GPS module on the truck to track the vehicles, so that at any point of time you can find out the location of the truck when it moves from the point A to point B. So you can keep a GPS tracker, and the tracker can basically again talk to your gateway inside the truck, and it can relay the information. So at any point of time, you can easily see where the trucks are moving and at point of what point of time, whether it is keep it's on time or delayed or whatever it is. So you can see all these things in a map. So this is how you track the vehicle, the whole truck or the car. So the second one is basically the asset tracking. So as you know, the trucks carry your goods from point A to point B. So the kind of goods inside the container can be a perishable goods or non-perishable goods. Say for a perishable goods, it might have some kind of freezers, and so you have to always maintain the certain temperature so that the goods kept inside the freezer is in good shape. So you have to always check one parameter, that is a temperature parameter. So you can keep a temperature sensor inside the container, which will always track the temperature of the freezer. So just to make sure that okay, the goods are in proper shape. So that is for the perishable goods. The second one, a second requirement is typically the shock parameter. So there might be items which are fragile in nature. So for example, it could be a TV or any other electronic goods which has to be transported with the minimum shock, because the truck is always moving. So they might have a shock-proof rack inside the container, so you keep all your items there, and then the truck moves. But still, there is a possibility that okay, if the truck takes a wild swing, okay, or the driver is doing a reckless driving, say in the case of a reckless driving, so there's always a possibility that this kind of racks can move a little bit, little bit, and it can exceed a certain benchmark. So I mean, in such a way that okay, so the goods will get damaged. So we can keep a shock sensors. There are a lot of shock proof sensors are available. Shock sensors, which will basically uh, detect the various shocks happening because of the movement of these kind of trucks. So we can keep a shock sensor. So that is one more example. So even whenever there is a whenever it exceeds the benchmark, it will be always sending the data. That sensor will send the data from the rack to the gateway. The gateway will receive. So now, for example, temperature information and shock information. There might be a need for a pressure sensor inside the container, which maybe some goods are kept at a certain pressure, so you can monitor that. And there might be also certain items which needs light should be there within the container. So if the light goes off or if there's any failure in connections, you can keep a light sensor. So these are the, I mean, there are whatever sensor you think of, see, can be installed inside the container, and all this data from these sensors can be pushed to the gateway, which will be kept inside the container, and that gateway um, will have a module, radio module, and from that gateway again, this can be pushed to the backend system for data visualization. Now you have seen how the vehicle parameters are pushed. In the similar manner, the the assets which are there within the container also can be monitored, and you can capture the data and push the data back to the backend system. So when I say the gateway, it can be the same gateway. So OBD will connect to the gateway with the same gateway. For the same gateway, we can also connect all these sensors. So typically, you can have one gateway and you can connect multiple sensors and devices. So whether it is an OBD parameter or it could be the asset tracking. So this is how you basically track the goods within the container. And one more thing I have mentioned, that container security. As you know, see, the truck, it's a moving truck, and sometimes they stop in between for in some picnic area or somewhere, they stop for taking in a rest area, they might park their vehicle. And uh, see, the rule is, see, once you load the container, the container is locked. So only in most cases they don't open the lock. Okay, it will be like locked, and then they will open only once it reaches the destination B. and they might open in between if they see some kind of anomaly within the container. Okay, so that's a different case. So there also can be theft. Theft. To prevent theft, we keep a sensor at the lock level, so that if anyone tries to tamper or tries to open the container door by force, this sensor will send an alert to the backend system saying that somebody is trying to open the container door. So the fleet manager or the fleet management team, so they will get an alert. So they will call up the driver and say why that there is an alert from the alert showing that there is a uh, the container door is opened or someone trying to open. So this way you can track. At the same time, these temperatures, similarly the temperature, pressure, or light, or shock, or whatever parameters, whatever sensor you keep, it has the capability to send the alerts to the backend system. So the fleet managers really can monitor all this monitor all these kind of parameters in a single screen, and then they can take actions. So in this way, uh, what I'm trying to summarize here is when a truck moves from point A to point B, let's start before that. Okay, so the shipping, the company which who wants to ship some certain items, so they deliver the items to the, the, the trucking company, and they load everything into the truck, and this normally the trucking company and the shipper, they sign an agreement. It's called a service level agreement. The service level agreement is to make sure that okay, all the goods go from point A to point B reaches safely. So there's a penalty, there's an insurance, all those things. Yeah. So the truck owners basically, so normally, they will end up paying some penalty if there are some damages. Okay, and then it goes to insurance. Then it's the process. So to prevent all these things, if you have these kind of sensors, so when they sign the service level agreement, they'll say, okay, I have a temperature sensor, I have a pressure sensor, I have a shock sensor, and they'll maintain everything. And while the goods are delivered at the point B, they'll take a report and give it to them, saying that okay, this is a report. The temperature was maintained successfully at the same desired level. Pressure, light, shock, everything. They will take a printout of the report. The truck owners will take a report and then give this to the receiving party at point B. So when they receive, they get the full report. So maybe the good would have been damaged even before the shipment started. I mean, and the receiving party cannot say that okay, it got damaged because of the transportation issues. No, they cannot do that, because if you have the sensors, take a report and give it to them. So this is one way of reducing cost, and it is safeguarding the truck owners. So at any point of time, this kind of technologies will safeguard them. At the same time, from an engine parameters point of view, so this is really going to help them with preventive maintenance, because this will clearly monitor the driving pattern of the drivers, how the drivers are driving, and their driving behavior. Are they going above the speed limit, or are they taking wild swings, and all these things. So it brings some kind of discipline. So it's not really against the driver, it's just bringing some best practices into the transportation and telematics industry, so that everyone is benefited. The sending party is benefited, the trucking company is benefited, everyone is benefited. This is basically like a technology that is they are trying to bring in. So this is how the process is. This is what we discussed. So tracking and OBD parameters from the various trucks you can see here, and all the data from this, whether it is in container or the OBD parameters, tracking and OBD parameters are passed on through the gateway. It is sent to a backend system. I just mentioned it as a data store, and where you will have a fleet tracking applications, and using the fleet tracking applications, typically you can get some visualization reports on all these parameters. So this is typically what is happening in the the trucking industry. So I try to make it very simple for you, so that it is so that you understand the concepts very clearly. This is especially useful for small trucking companies or a large trucking company. This is the process that is followed anywhere. And if you feel that okay, this is fitting into a segment, feel free to contact me, so we can discuss in detail and then we can provide some solutions. So that's it for today. I hope this session was useful, and I'm sure this will be very useful for the young graduates who are just out of the college and who wants to know more about the IoT and how it functions how this IoT can be implemented in a transportation domain. So this will be very useful for them, and definitely we can have more and more detailed sessions if they want to know more about this. So the next topic again will be 5G. So let's see the 5G. So the 5G, I mean, everywhere you see here 5G now. So now let's see the 5G, how the 5G is shaping up in various countries. The US, if you see, the 5G is already implemented, and you can see the 5G networks in your surrounding area. So it may not be a bigger tower, but you find some 5G small antennas. So we'll discuss more about the technology, and in this topic, I will talk about the evolution of the technology right from the 2.5G, 3G, 3.5G, 4G, 4G LTE, then now we are at 5G. So I'll show you the complete evolution of the 5G and how it got evolved, and what is the future. Tomorrow maybe 6G or 7G or whatever it is. So I'll show you the complete evolution of the network from our 2G to the 5G. So we'll cover that in detail in the next session. So again, I am just summarizing, not summarizing. So I started with this again. So there is going to be a live session, 30-minute session with one of the company who has implemented the IoT sensors and devices in an agricultural field. This is for one of the universities here in the US. It will be a live session, 30 minutes. You have an option basically to ask them questions. So this will be really useful. And as I said earlier, like, I'm planning for a drive to the university, and then I'll show you how this has been implemented. And in this live session, we also will show you how does a sensor look like, and how does a gateway looks like. So this will be shown live in a live session. So we can use some Zoom kind of tool for arranging a sessions. Please subscribe to the SmartTech Pin, and you please send an email to smarttechpin@gmail.com. So we want to limit the registrations. So we just want to make sure that it doesn't exceed a large audience. So please subscribe and send me a mail, and I will set up a session for you, and then I can send you the link for watching the live session. So I am not sure about a recorded session. It's going to be a live session. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for all your feedbacks. Keep sending me your feedbacks. Send me feedback to the smarttechpin@gmail.com, all your queries, and definitely I'll try to answer most of your queries. And again, as an information to the graduates who are just graduating from your engineering or any other field of your studies. So if you are getting into automations, or if you want to get into telecom, or if you want to get into IoT, and if you want to know more, please send out your queries. We'll try to create more and more sessions for them, so that uh, the freshness that you have, you're fresh from your college, so we all gone through this stage. So it will be really good to know these kind of technologies. So I am here. The primary objective of this group is basically to share more information to you, so that you as a fresher, when you see this, it's really, it will be a lot of good information for you. It is really going to help you out in your career also. So have a nice week ahead. And I know there there was a pause, so it's almost like 3 weeks back I posted the video, and in fact, I was just going through my official routines, and it was delaying a little bit more. But I'm trying to post more videos this week, trying to find some time and post more videos uh, in the coming week, and then and make it continuous so that there's continuity. Continuity always helps. Okay. Thank you so much for watching.